In the late 870s, Viking sailors, navigating the waves of the North Sea with powerful ships, boldly landed on the French shores. During this period, young Rollo grew up in the Viking world, where harsh climates and challenging seas prevailed. Raised by a warrior father and a Viking woman as a mother, Rollo learned both combat and seafaring skills. Rollo was a significant part of the Viking crew that raided French territories by crossing the Seine River. During these attacks, Rollo's courage and strategic knowledge stood out among other warriors. When Paris was besieged, Viking forces under Rollo's leadership seized the city, earning great renown. However, towards the end of the 9th century, Rollo's fate reached a turning point. The St. Clair-sur-Epte Treaty was signed between the Vikings and King Charles III of France. With this treaty, Rollo agreed to accept Christianity in exchange for territorial claims. This unexpected transformation represented a significant change in Rollo's life and the overall image of Viking leaders. The St. Clair-sur-Epte Treaty signaled the transition of the Vikings to a settled order. Rollo, renouncing his Viking warrior identity, declared the beginning of a process to establish the foundation of the Norman Duchy. This change not only marked a personal evolution for Rollo but also symbolized a turning point in Viking history. In 911, the St. Clair-sur-Epte Treaty, marking Rollo's transition from his Viking past to establishing a Christian duchy, was a significant step. After the treaty, Rollo acquired extensive lands in the lower parts of the Seine River and initiated the process of establishing the Duchy of Normandy. In the early years of Normandy, 911 to 927, Rollo focused on stabilizing the region by utilizing his Viking origins and combat skills. Playing a pioneering role in the transition of the Vikings to a settled life, Rollo began governing the region in collaboration with local aristocracy and Christian priests. During this period, Normandy's economy flourished. Under Rollo's leadership, trade developed. Agriculture expanded, and settlement areas increased. While maintaining the Viking warrior image, Rollo embraced Christian values, bringing together the Norman society. As the borders of Normandy expanded, 927 to 942, Rollo's government continued to strengthen cultural integration in the region. Striving to strike a balance between Norman traditions and Christianity, Rollo attempted to build bridges between the traditional Viking practices and Christian values. During this process, he enriched Norman culture by constructing cathedrals, monasteries, and other Christian structures. Rollo's death in 942 marked a transition period in Normandy's governance, passing the leadership to his son, William Longsword. However, Rollo's death was not just the loss of a leader, it signaled the end of an era for the Norman community. Rollo's legacy continued to live on after his death. Normandy, established under Rollo's leadership, not only expanded its territories but also strengthened economically, culturally, and politically. William Longsword, Rollo's successor, aimed to continue the legacy and power of Normandy. In the years following Rollo's death, his descendants spread to various regions of Europe. Particularly in England, Rollo's grandchildren and their descendants played a crucial role in forming the foundation of the English royal family. Today, Rollo's legacy is not only that of a Viking leader but also of a cultural pioneer and the founder of the Norman Duchy. The significant figure in the history of Normandy is remembered not only for his time but also as a leader who had a lasting impact throughout history. By the year 942, the founder and long-reigning leader of the Duchy of Normandy, Rollo, was approaching the end of an era. After a long and successful reign, the year of Rollo's death symbolized the closing of a chapter for Normandy and the Viking world. Rollo's death marked a transitional period in Normandy. This loss in 942 was a turning point that would determine the future of the region. Rollo's son, William Longsword, took over the leadership, but Rollo's death was not just the loss of a leader, it was also an indication that an era had come to an end for the Norman community. Despite the change in leadership after Rollo's death, his legacy continued to live on in the region. The Norman Duchy, established under Rollo's leadership, not only expanded its territories but also grew stronger economically, culturally, and politically. Rollo's son, William Longsword, followed in his father's footsteps, aiming to sustain the power of Normandy. In the years following Rollo's death, his descendants spread to various regions of Europe. Especially in England, Rollo's grandchildren and their descendants played a crucial role in forming the foundation of the English royal family. Today, Rollo's legacy is not only that of a Viking leader but also of a cultural pioneer and the founder of the Norman Duchy. The significant figure in the history of Normandy is remembered not only for his time but also as a leader who had a lasting impact throughout history. The life and leadership of Rollo evolved into a legend over time, gaining a significant place in Viking history and the overall history of Europe. His Viking warrior identity, the process of establishing a Christian duchy, and his regional influence elevated Rollo into a legend. Rollo's legend surpassed the image of a brave warrior to become a symbol of an era. His transformation of the Viking image from fierce and aggressive to accepting Christianity, signifying the end of the Viking Age and the beginning of the Norman Duchy, represents a distinct period. Rollo's leadership and efforts for cultural integration during the establishment of Normandy contributed to his legendary status. The merging of Viking roots with Christian values not only portrayed Rollo as a warrior but also as a cultural pioneer. The impact of Rollo's descendants, especially in England, further enhanced his legend. Rollo's grandchildren and their descendants laid the foundation for the English royal family, spreading his influence across Europe. This not only solidified Rollo's position as a duke but also as a figure with a lasting impact on European history. The legend of Rollo continued through stories, epics, and myths told throughout history. His life symbolizes the end of the Viking Age, the acceptance of Christianity, and the birth of Normandy. Even today, Rollo's legend lives on as a story where history and mythology intertwine, making him more than just a leader, but a figure with a lasting legacy. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video for more such videos.